What's up, Motor Brats? It's Priscilla Gordy, and welcome to a new Jujutsu Kaisen What If, or my first Jujutsu Kaisen What If. That being, what if Itadori Yuji had no limits? So, One Punch Man, not One Piece, One Punch Man fans, you might know what I'm talking about, but stay tuned for. If you guys are Jujutsu Kaisen fans, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, just wait and you'll understand. Anyways, this is my first Jujutsu Kaisen What If, and I wanted to make it uh, more better, more sensible than normally my What Ifs are. Even if I try to be more sensible, it just comes out as dumb. But this is much more relatable to this is much more relatable to happen to Yuji rather than other What Ifs that being sometimes Sharingan or stuff like that. But anyway, I'm blabbering a lot, but yeah, Yuji has no limits in his body. So yeah. Anyways, I'm blabbering a lot, and so without any further ado, let's get watching. So our story starts off with Itadori Yuji's birth. I'm just gonna call him Yuji or Itadori, whatever I think of. So the story starts off with Yuji's birth. His father's name is Jin Itadori, and his mother's name is Kenjaku. If you guys haven't read the manga, just please go and read it, because most of the information I'm gonna be saying is gonna be from there. Because Jujutsu Kaisen anime is good, but not as good as the manga. Anyways, so basically, when Itadori is born, his body limiters, which has been placed inside of him like every human does, isn't there. If you guys don't know what that means, basically, when every baby is formed inside the ovary, it's basically there's a limiter put on him by, well, the human nature. Basically, the instincts or soul, whatever you want to call it, puts a limit on human nature, and when someone breaks it, they become so strong that they become Saitama or One Punch Man. So basically, but Saitama broke his limits, but Itadori doesn't have limits. Okay, there is no limiter in his body. Meaning, when he's born not strong. He's born at the baby level, but he will grow strong. Now, why is Itadori born without a limiter? It's simple, due to Kenjaku. Now, if you guys don't know Kenjaku's origin story, because we don't, the manga readers don't know full of Kenjaku's origin story, but basically what it is Kenjaku is a brain currently. He transfers his body from person to person. It's basically like Orochimaru, who's transferring his body, his soul to another person, but instead of his soul or some shit like that, Kenjaku uses his brain from transferring to one body to another body. So before Geto, the current Kenjaku user, had been born, I mean, due to the fact that Geto had died by Gojo, his body was available for Kenjaku to take over. I mean, use the brain surgery and stuff. And before Kenjaku took over Geto, he was taking over Yuji's mother. Now, we don't have any official news about who Yuji's mother name is or what's her real story is. So, yeah, I'm sorry about that. But anyways, Yuji will be born with no limiters, and he would be given to Wasake Itadori. Basically, Itadori's grandfather, and he would be he would grow up without his parents, with only his grandfather, and he wouldn't care about his parents. Now, while growing up, people would realize that this kid has immense strength, and some doctors would take research upon it, take blood tests and something, and they would realize that he's perfectly human. Okay, no genetically altered, some shit like that. No, he's perfectly human. The doctors realize that this kid does not have any limiter and diagnose him with the limitless syndrome. Now, what are the doctors saying is, limitless syndrome is basically one in a entire population where the kid is born without the limits of a body. Basically, he can grow indefinitely, and due to that, people start calling him the limitless boy. Now, due to this now Yuji and his grandfather don't care about the fame that Yuji is getting, and they continue their lives. You now time skip to 15 years. Basically, Yuji would be 15 right now, and he would be in the cold cup talking with the senpais. That's when the door will open and would come in the class president of the middle school of the school that he's currently studying in. He would tell Yuji to get out and go to the other club, that being the sports club, and the occult club member senpais would look at Yuji for confirmation, but he would deny any accusations about it. And Yuji's personality is different from canon. Yuji is just bored. Okay, most of the time he's bored, and he likes to know about spirits and stuff, and that's why he's more of enthusiastic in the occult club, because for him everything is boring. Now, Yuji, while growing up, his grandfather placed limiters upon him, not like put some kind of device or something. He trained Yuji to control his strength and put limiters upon his own limitless strength. And this kind of caused Yuji to gain a limiter. He created his own limiter, and he can control his strength pretty well, since from the moment he could walk and talk and move, he has been learning to control his strength. So yeah, that's kind of Itadori's professionalism. Not professionalism. Itadori's situation. So he has much better control of his strength rather than in canon. And in canon, due to Kenjaku being Itadori's mother, Yuji had a power boost. He was stronger than normal humans due to the cursed spirit inside of his body. Him already being a half cursed spirit, as after taking in Sukuna, he also becomes a full cursed spirit. But anyways, so he would tell the coach who came in and asked Itadori to join the sports club to bug off, and the coach would do so because he doesn't know how strong Itadori is, and he doesn't want to know, because there are theories being going around where he can one punch the earth to destruction. Okay, Itadori has a lot of theories upon his side, not him, but people make a lot of theories upon Itadori, because Itadori is a freaking not monstrosity, more or less. Anyways, Itadori would finish the occult club duties and go towards the hospital where his grandpa is admitted. Now there, after reaching it, he and his grandpa would have a discussion about why Itadori is there, and instead of Itadori living his life, he's coming to visit grandpa. But that's when his grandpa would say, Itadori, you have power that far exceeds any human being, and do not become arrogant with it. Use this power to help people. You will die soon enough, but when you die, make sure that you have people around you. And after hearing this, Yuji counters with, you die alone, grandpa. That's when his grandpa starts shouting at him, telling him to just bug off, and he would turn his head to the side of the bed, and then he would take his last breath. Now, due to Yuji did not know having limiters in any of part of his body, that being brain and senses as well as body, he's able to hear his grandfather's last breath, and he knows that his grandfather has passed away. He lets out a single tear and calls the hospital receptionist for the funeral, and then he fills out the details. But that's when someone calls him, and when he turns around, he meets Megumi, Fushiguro, or Zenin, whatever you want to call him. Then Megumi then asks, where's the box? Yuji gets confused, and Megumi explains that the box that he got from the shrine in the school. Then that's when Itadori asks why does he need it. Megumi brings Itadori to the side, and that's when he explains about the curses, how it is born from negative emotions, how it is born from different emotions, mostly negative emotions. Hearing this, Itadori only asks one thing: are they strong? And that's when Megumi realizes who he's talking to, the limitless boy. And Megumi is smart, and he will be able to figure out that there's no challenge that Itadori has, and there's no challenge for Itadori right now. So maybe the Itadori might do something for his life and he would be killed. So he would tell Itadori to stay away, and then Itadori would just give him the box, and after opening the box he would realize that there's no cursed item. Megumi would realize that there's no cursed item, and when he would ask Itadori would just tell him about his senpai having it, and both Itadori and Megumi would run towards the school, and when they would reach to the school, Itadori and Megumi would feel a bloodlust. But Megumi, when seeing Itadori how he's reacting, Itadori just raises an eyebrow about this. But Megumi is shocked that Itadori doesn't even feel this, but he comes to his senses and tells Itadori to just go home and he'll deal with it. Itadori just nods and starts walking home while Megumi runs towards the class. Now Itadori then thinks, that guy will handle it, so I'll just go back. And he starts walking. Now let's go to Megumi. Megumi finds the senpais who had the cursed item being held hostage by a cursed spirit. Megumi would use a shadow technique and would use his summons to, you could say, get off guard more or less. But the summons would be useless against these cursed spirits. But that's when the glass is broke and comes out Itadori. Megumi would be shocked and thinks, that's the fourth floor. I knew this guy had no limits, but fourth floor? Seriously? Itadori would then jump in and come out, and then he would be in a motion to punch while in midair, and then he would think, I should have just gone. Why the hell did I make that damn promise with my grandpa? Then he would just say, normal punch. Then he would swing his hand, and the cursed spirit that had been holding the senpai hostage would burst in, and Itadori with his quick reflexes would just catch both the senpais and bring them to the side. And when he looks up to the cursed spirit, he feels something just fall on his leg, and when he sees that it is a finger, which confuses Itadori, so he just picks it. That's when Megumi comes in, astounded that the guy just one-shotted a damn cursed spirit, even without batting an eye. And if we heard correctly, he said normal punch. Then Megumi just thinks, just how strong is he? But that's when Megumi asks Yuji if he's okay, and Yuji would say yeah. But that's when another spirit would attack Yuji, but Yuji would just dodge. But Megumi didn't think that Yuji would dodge, so Megumi would be captured by the cursed spirit and thrown out of the school, landing on a pavement. And Yuji would look back to see his senpais knocked out, and he would look to see anyone near him or any cursed spirits, since he can apparently see them right now for some odd reason. And since he isn't dying, remember, Yuji, you might be thinking, how the hell is Yuji able to see cursed spirits? Simple. He is a half cursed spirit, remember? He just needs a catalyst, and that catalyst is punching a damn cursed spirit, He didn't see where the hell the cursed spirit was. He just saw that his senpais were levitating. So he just punched where he think the cursed spirit was, and he dragged it. And after this punch, Yuji realized that the cursed spirit was poofed, and the first cursed spirit he ever saw was the one that attacked Megumi right now. So anyways, Yuji would jump out of the building and land near Megumi and ask him about what the hell is happening. Megumi would explain, the cursed item that you have in his hand, you have in your hand is the Sukuna's finger, and when some cursed spirit absorbs it, it gains cursed energy so high that it would evolve into a special grade. And you also have to, if you want to kill a cursed spirit, you have to use cursed energy. Now after this, Itadori would just be silent because he knows that he doesn't have any excess energy in it. And when he sees the item in his hand, he just sighs. And that's when the cursed spirit attacks again, but Itadori just jumps upon him and tries to punch it, but that's when his tentacles wrap around him and try to eat it. But Itadori says, fine, I'll do it in your way. And then he opens his mouth and puts the finger on it. Megumi, seeing this, is shocked and cursed energy blows out inside Itadori, and the cursed spirit throws Itadori to the ground, which doesn't really hurt him, and Itadori just comes back up. But that's when the cursed spirit tried to attack Itadori with to kill him, and Megumi thinks maybe in a one in a million chance, maybe he might be able to control it. But that's when Itadori snaps his finger, and the cursed spirit just vanishes. And the next thing Megumi notices that there's markings in front in Itadori's face, and that's when Itadori speaks. Finally, I'm released. And Megumi quickly realizes what happened. Sukuna has taken over Itadori's body, and then Sukuna starts celebrating while saying, "The woman, this world, is now mine." But that's when a hand stops him and says, "Give me back my body." And Megumi realizes that Itadori still has a little bit of control over his body. And then that's when Sakuna says, "You damn brat, it seems you have still control over his body, but no problem, I'll make this body mine." But that's when a serious voice sounds, "Give me back my body." This voice scares the shit out of Sakuna as well as Megumi. The seriousness in this voice is scary. No bloodlust, no nothing. The seriousness in Itadori's voice is scary. And Itadori, due to Itadori scaring Sakuna, Sakuna just goes back inside, and Itadori takes control of his body. Megumi snaps out of his demeanor, and his hand starts shaking, and that's when he says, "I have to exercise you." But Itadori just raises up his hand and says, "Oh, calm down, man. You can't, by the way, but still, I'm me. I'm Itadori Yuji. I'm not the cursed spirit that I just swallowed." Megumi knows that, but he still has to exercise it, but that's when someone comes in. Gojo sensei. Gojo Satoru would come to the stage. Then he would make fun of Megumi and ask what is going on. That's when Megumi would explain the situation. Gojo would be surprised. And he would want to test Itadori's, potential thing. Now, Gojo doesn't really remember the guy named Limitless Boy. He had heard it, but he soon forgot about it because Gojo is just like that. So Gojo would ask Itadori to fight him in as switched form, but Itadori then asks one thing: "Wouldn't you get hurt?" But that's when Gojo, while stretching, says, "I'm the strongest." Now this hits a nerve with Itadori, and he asks, "Before I go to the Sukuna mode or something, can I fight you with my bare strength?" Now this would surprise Gojo, but Gojo is like, "Sure, why not?" And Gojo would be ready, but that's when Itadori would disappear from his place and appear in front of Gojo with a punch. But the punch would be stopped by an invisible barrier. Itadori would be confused while Megumi remembers the infinity ability that Gojo has. And that's when Gojo would explain to Itadori what his ability is, about how with his eyes he can bring the infinity concept into reality. Now this would amuse Itadori, but nothing else, and he would want to test it. So then he would go back a little steps, and then you say, "Normal punch." He would swing at it, and it would stop. Now this uh, Gojo would feel it. There would be some air pressure, which both Megumi and Gojo would feel it, and Gojo would be kind of surprised that the kid was able to punch so hard that it created wind pressure. But then Itadori says, "Serious mode. Serious. Push." Itadori puts two hands to the barrier and pushes it, and this kind of shakes Gojo, and he kind of moves behind, but he stops himself and adds more cursed energy towards the barrier to make it stable, and Itadori stops. But before Itadori can go more, Gojo asks, "What the hell did you do right now?" Then Itadori would explain, since I was born, I didn't have any limits. So my grandfather made me control my strength, and from training to control my strength, I created 5 limiters inside my body. Now those limiters are casual series, normal series, serious series, super serious series, and destroy series. Each use a percentage of my power, and when I get serious, I will use serious power. When I get fully serious, I will use full serious stage. And then when I want to go all out, I'll use the destroyer mode. And after inquiring more about it, Gojo would decide to let Itadori continue, and Itadori would set super serious mode. And the air around Itadori was shift to a guy who's fully serious right now, but he's still holding back most of his power. And Itadori would push, and this would cause a reaction from Gojo. This push is so powerful that Gojo takes a step back. Even if he doesn't want to, he takes a step back, and Gojo is using his cursed energy, like all of his cursed energy from his core, to maintain this barrier, which is he doesn't know if it's gonna break because no one has pushed him this far. Even not Toji. If you guys don't know who Toji is, I'll explain later. Anyways, Itadori would say, then let's go all out then. Destroyer mode. And the air around would change, around Yuji and Gojo would change, and heat would start to form because Itadori has finally removed his limiter and those anime style things. Heat would form, and Itadori would push, and this push would create a freaking wind blast. And Gojo, who's like standing in front of Itadori, would be pushed back. He would use entirety of curse energy to maintain the barrier to stop himself, and he even puts an infinity barrier behind him so he could stop it. But Itadori's pure physical strength is pushing Gojo towards few feet, and he's pulling fully. Gojo is fully intent to stop it, but he can't stop it. But then Itadori stops him and says, "Damn, you're strong. Even if I went full power, you wouldn't be. You were still standing." Now Itadori, while using his destructive mode, he didn't notice that he was able to push Gojo a couple of steps. Now because of his full concentration using the destroyer mode. Anyways, Itadori would say that he's gonna go Sukuna, and he would close his eyes, and when he opens his eyes, he has markings all over his body. And that's when Itadori Sukuna would disappear and come in front of Gojo with a punch. Gojo, quickly reacting, would dodge, and he would have to dodge because this is a destroyer punch, would create a shock wave more or less, which would split the crowds. And Itadori, Megumi, not Itadori, Sukuna, Megumi, as and Gojo would see this in shock. Even Sukuna didn't know that this kid had this much power inside of him, and he realizes that he was perfectly good to be scared with this kid. So then he would try a kick, but Gojo would open his eye. Basically, the thing that is covering his eye, he would remove it, and he would dodge it once again. But Sukuna, being Sukuna, would not miss this chance. He would go to punch Itadori. Gojo, but Gojo would use his infinity bar to stop it using all of his curse energy. But he would still be flung a couple of steps because of the power that is coming in. But Gojo would use this opportunity to catch Itadori's arm, and he would use an entirety of curse energy in his hand, and he would punch Itadori or Sukuna. But Sukuna wouldn't even bat to this, wouldn't even feel this actually, which would shock Gojo to the core because Gojo only did this once, that being with Toji, and even Toji got hurt. But this kid, or Sukuna more or less, got a jackpot. And yeah, Sukuna would try a headbutt, but he would refocus his curse energy to maintaining the infinity shield, and the headbutt would be stopped. But that's when Sukuna would try to kick, and he would send the curse energy to the place where Sukuna is trying to kick. which would stop the kick. But Sukuna didn't really try to kick Gojo. He knew that Gojo was gonna put curse energy and create this stupid barrier, so he would use this as a jumping play to jump back, and he would land, and then he would do a seal, and then he would say, would put his fingers in a situation, and he would say, domain expansion, malevolent shrine. And he would create a domain expansion, or Sukuna would create a domain expansion which would shock Gojo, because he didn't think that Sukuna was able to use curse energy so high in Itadori's body, who doesn't have cursed energy at this point. And yeah, but that's when Gojo or Megumi, who's like inside of the domain right now because he got stuck, and he would say 10 seconds are up, and the domain would start cracking and would crack out, and Yuji would be there without any markings. This would Gojo would release an air, because a breath that he didn't know he held, and Yuji would just scratch his head and says, well, sorry, I kind of caused this mess, and Gojo would say, yeah, no problem. Then Yuji would say, well, it's time for me to go back to the hospital because I kind of left my grandpa's funeral at hold to come here, so I'll go back, and if you guys need something, just meet me at the morgue like 2 or 3 days later. And Gojo would nod, and Itadori would say, normal series, normal jump. And he would just jump off, and Megumi would just whisper, that was the normal jump? That guy's a monster in pure physical strength. Now Gojo would be thinking, yes, Megumi, he is a monster. But he's a monster who killed a cursed energy and is the Sukuna's vessel. We don't know if the kid gets to the wrong hands. We don't know what it will happen. Now Gojo has two ideas coming in his mind, and Gojo say, well, that's the question. Will he go to the bad side, or will will himself come to us? That's the question. Or even if he didn't come to us, we'll go to him. Gojo would have a small smile tugging his face, and let's time skip to 2 days later, where Itadori is sitting with the ashes of his grandfather, and that's when Gojo would sneak up behind him and tell him, hey, what's up? Now Itadori would just turn around and say, yo, what up? What are you doing here? And that's when Gojo would think, I sneaked up behind him. Normally at this point people would be scared, but this guy didn't even bat an eye. Damn. And Gojo would say, well, now normally when someone eats a cursed spirit, we normally exercise him, but due to the fact that, well, you're kind of special, and Itadori would cut him and say, special? What does that mean? Gojo would continue, well, before you interrupted me, as I was saying, there are not many people who can swallow Sukuna's finger and be able to have control over their body, and so the elders have decided that you will take all the Sukuna fingers and die with you, or we'll kill you, more or less. Itadori was, you will kill me. And there's a silence between Itadori and Gojo. Now Gojo would think, I shouldn't have said that now, should I? Normally people would be freaking out or going on a defensive, but this guy is just carefree. Itadori would stop with the awkward situation by shrugging and says, sure, if you guys can do that, sure, go on. Well, if you guys can kill me, then go on. And Gojo would just think, if you guys can kill me, damn. He would just giggle in his mind, and Gojo would then give Itadori another finger and says, well, go on. Itadori would take the finger and just look at Gojo, look at the finger back, and then shrugs it, and then puts in his mouth and swallows it. It takes a reaction while the symbols start forming in Itadori's face, and Gojo is ready, to unmask his eyes and be ready. But that's when Itadori would say, damn, that's gross. And Gojo would have a full-blown smile saying, you are perfect. And Itadori is hearing that, dude, I don't swing that way. Uh, Itadori, Gojo's like, no, 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 you're perfect for being the container of Sukuna. And let's go. Itadori would just ask, where? Gojo said, come with me. And then let's skip to later, where both Gojo and Itadori are at Jujutsu Kaisen, Jujutsu Tech, or Jujutsu High, whatever you want to call it. There, Gojo would introduce Itadori to Principal Yaga Masamichi, basically the principal of Jujutsu Tech, and Itadori would introduce himself, and that's when Yaga would ask a question. What is it that you want? Why do you want to join Jujutsu Tech? Itadori would shrug and says, well, I want to, I don't know, mostly. And after hearing this, Principal Yaga would decide to attack Itadori by using his puppets, which would send a punch in like fast but not fast. But Itadori just lets it punch him with an indifferent face. He said, Why is this doll punching me?" That's when Principal Yaga says, well, this will punch you until you decide if you are gonna, well, have a goal or not. Itadori would sigh and then think about it a minute by just standing there, and that's when Principal Yaga would say, you fail. This would kind of shock Itadori. He was like, fail? Why? Then Principal Yaga would say, well, since you don't have any dream or you don't have any goal, it's because of that. This would kind of piss Itadori, and that this doll is not even making it easier for him. The doll would punch and kick, do something, but Itadori is just standing there with a look of indifference. And Principal Yaga would think, Gojo, what he told that day was true. Now let's go to the flashback. Now, after the fight between Gojo and Itadori, Gojo would go to the Principal Yaga and explain the situation to him, and both of them would go to the elders where they would discuss the situation. After Gojo would tell them the entirety of the situation, our elder would question, what are we going to do with the Sukuna's vessel? Or more importantly, how are we going to kill him? This would make Gojo laugh, and when one elder asks why Gojo is laughing, Gojo would say, "Kill him? That guy is a freaking monstrosity, even without Sukuna. You think you people can kill him? He pushed me back when we were testing out his power. He pushed me back, and I had to use my entire curse energy to not even be pushed back. Okay, I had to use my entire power to not even get pushed back. You understand? You really think that you're gonna die?" Then another elder would ask, "Then what do you want us to do?" Silence would occur for a minute. Then Gojo would say, "Well, since Itadori is the only person who has completely been sane after eating Sakuna's finger, why don't we make him eat more? After 25 fingers, why don't we just kill him?" Then one of the elders said, "That's insane." Like they would have a shout of protest, but Principal Yaga would calm them down, and Gojo would explain, because he's the only one who can even do it. So you could say two in one stone. But then one of the elders would ask, "How do we kill him if we even go with this plan? Because you can't do it, as you said, right? You can do it, right?" And everyone would be silent, and Gojo at this point would just say, "Hell yeah, I'm the strongest." But everyone, the elders and Principal Yaga, seeing Gojo's expression, realize that he can't, well, fully, more or less. That's when Gojo would say, "Well, I can't personally, but if I had an item, I could do it." Then one of the elders would ask, "What item?" Gojo would say, "The inverted spear of heaven." Now this would put silence in the room, and Principal Yaga would say, "Fine. Now let's flashback end, and let's continue to Itadori getting his ass beat, but without any look of indifference. He's not getting his ass beat. Basically, the doll is getting his punches without Itadori doing anything. But Itadori has his limits. So when the doll has enough, Itadori just swings him with a normal punch, destroying the puppet, kind of upsetting Principal Yaga, and Itadori would say, because I want to have a challenge. And I kinda want to end this Sukuna guy. Maybe I could fight Sukuna, maybe I could fight him. I just want to have a damn challenge. This would be an enough reason, and Principal Yaga say, then welcome to Jujutsu High. And that's where we're gonna leave for this episode. Guys. If you guys like this video, like, share, subscribe, do the necessary stuff. And if you don't, I can understand. Peace out.